Hello and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn and to another Creepmas video. Now I'm feeling far more festive than I was last week, and I'm feeling more inspired with the things that I'm going to make. Now if you don't know, I am doing my version of a creepy grotto in the outside area of my basement. One section is actually dedicated to Santa's grotto itself, and the other section is the way in. The way in is far less spooky than the actual grotto, the idea being that it lulls you into a false sense of security. But in my less spooky area, I'm going with a bit of a candy theme. So I've got some candy cane sort of motif on my wreath. I've got my spooky topiary done, and I've got my far from spooky little scene piece. But as I mentioned in a previous video, under the stairs that lead up to the front door, I want to include the Christmas equivalent of an Halloween jump scare. So I've been thinking about this a lot, and I kind of knew that I wanted something, and I was thinking I was going to include some kind of a creepy, spooky elf, because anybody that's had to deal with Elf on the Shelf will know that that little dude is pretty creepy. But it didn't quite go. And then I saw a lot of full-size decorations online where people had done cutouts of gingerbread men, and I got to thinking. And so today I'm making a gingerbread themed jump scare. I began by finding a template on the internet. I just did an image search on Google and I came up with this free to print image of a gingerbread man. You can get a gingerbread woman if that's what you prefer, but I just went for the simple gingerbread man. Now this is what the site I went on to considers a small gingerbread man, which means that you get 4 onto a piece of copier paper. And that's what I did. I printed out the 4 and then I've cut one out. This works out almost perfectly for the gap that I've got under my stairs, what I've always considered to be the bin store, because it looks like it's going to be perfect to put your rubbish, put your trash cans, whatever you refer to, under there until it's time for it to be collected. But what I'm going to make is I'm going to make a piece that covers that area, makes like a false wall, and conceals a bit of a shock. So as you can see, I've already cut one of these out, and he's over here. We'll place that one. And what I've done is I've actually cut his feet flat so that he would fit in my space. And I measured how far I needed the piece to go crossways, and in the case of my stairs that meant I needed a piece that was 4.5 inches across, and then I made it just tall enough to cover him because he fits perfectly. Now what I could do is just do a backing piece, put a gingerbread man on it, decorate it. Thank you, I've got a cute Christmas decoration. But that wouldn't give me my jump scare. So I've cut my gingerbread man, my template there, out of a cereal packet, and I've cut out a piece to go behind him. Now the observant among you will notice that I've already got a hole cut out of that, and I've got some cut marks in this. Yeah, because I'm going to be honest, I was trying to see if everything would work, whether everything would fit before I filmed it. And he's going to stick on there. Got the little marks to show where he goes. and he's going to disguise something, and the cuts on him are to make a door. Now I've got to cover that with something that I can paint a bit easier, but as you can see, it leaves a window, and this is going to be a window into a cell, and all will become clear. I have painted these two pieces. This is my background piece and my gingerbread man. I added a bit of paper on the inside of there. It's actually a scrap of sketch pad paper, so it's a bit thicker, and I've been able to put a bit of texturing in there. That needs a bit more colour on it, but it's not all going to be seen. Some of this, I did paint it all, honestly, but it appears to have developed white spots as it's dried. Doesn't bother me because I'm going to decorate it, but first I'm going to actually stick this into place on here, and I've still got my marks visible. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn that over. I'm going to get some glue, and I'm going to put a small amount of glue around the gingerbread man. Now I'm sticking this on now because I want to work on the other side of this before I decorate the front, I think. And I want to actually be able to see how much space I've got for everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over, put some weight on it, and give it a little while to see if the glue will take. And while that's on, I'm going to start making the bars to go on the inside of my opening. So I'll put that like that, and I'll be back soon. I have made quite a bit of progress. I have decorated the gingerbread man, which now means that I've got to wait for that to dry. Simple as I've used some white puffy paint to go around the outside, and then I put the details on using Stickles glitter glue. I love Stickles glitter glue. This is just a sort of clear one. These are my favourites because they'll make anything look sparkly. Because unlike loose glitter, it doesn't go everywhere. And of course, glitter is a great thing for Christmas because we all like a bit of sparkle and shine at this time of year. So there is the gingerbread man with his face ready. Now I've also painted some toothpicks. These are going to make the bars for the cell that will be revealed through that little door there. And then I've put some bone coloured paint. It's actually linen, but it looks a bit better than the original colour of the bones on the skeletal hand that I'm going to have reaching out. I think that my next step is going to be to glue these in place, which at the moment I've got to be very careful of because obviously the glitter's wet. I didn't think of that when I thought I've got a bit carried away doing my decorating, but I can do it because I can hold it, put some glue on there, put these into place, and yeah, it should work quite nicely. So next job is gluing these on. So let's get to that. I have added my bars on the back. As you can see, I've now got my sort of prison cell effect thing in the middle of my gingerbread man. And as you can probably tell, or you could when I turned it over, I've added a bit of structure to the back. I've just used some strips of the cereal box just to make it so that this guy will stand up under his own weight. I would recommend putting a bit of weight on the back. This is just a pencil eraser that I was using to stick my toothpicks in. It's just enough to give it a bit of stability. I will be putting something in place to do that job when I stick it into its final location. Obviously, now I've got this, I've got to figure out how I'm going to attach my arm. Now, if this was a real working jump scare, the hand would be attached to the door and would push the door out and come out as people approached. But obviously it's not going to do that, so I'm going to have my hand sort of stuck out something like that, so that you can still tell it's a gingerbread man. You get a hint of the bars behind, and then there'll be darkness. Now, I was considering putting holes for lights for his eyes, and I've just moved it out of shot, putting holes for lights for his eyes, but I decided that that would probably be a little bit on the awkward side. So instead, what I'm going to do is the lights that are behind this, I'm going to wrap in probably some red cellophane, so they'll have a sort of creepy kind of a glow, and maybe put some over the top as well, so that it is sort of lit up in that little corner. Oh, and there goes my arm. Anyway, the jelly buttons aren't dry yet, so I'm having to be careful with him. So I'm going to put him away now and let him dry off properly, and then look at attaching this and maybe spookying this up a bit. What do you think? Maybe some blood dripping off his fingers? I don't know. I have just about finished with this now, I think, unless I decide to put some more fancy bits on the background. I think I'm happy with it. The hand is in place. That's actually been hot glued in place on the back there, just behind that, so it sticks out. And then I used a little bit more hot glue because I had the glue gun out, and I've made something dripping from the skeletal fingers. I've coloured it red. It could be blood, it could be candy, it could be strawberry jam, who knows? It certainly looks a little bit on the freaky side. Now, this is going to look perfect in the spot where I want it to go. I've tried it, it fits, I'm quite pleased with it. And I don't even think I'm going to have to weight these down once I get it in. I've had to do a little bit of modification to my work on the back because obviously it goes under the stairs, so what I've done is I've made this a bit more curved rather than squared off. Fits brilliantly now, and ready to go into place. At the start of the video I said that I was working on some other things, I'd been working on some other things as well as my gingerbread man, and one of them is a second door wreath. Now, you may know that in a previous Creepmas video I made a candy cane door wreath. Now, I could have made another one of these to go on the main front door, but I wanted something a little bit different, and I've made this. Now, this is the same idea. It is 2 chenille sticks twisted together and then shaped into a circle, but I've decorated this one with a single snowflake. Now, the snowflake is one of the wooden snowflakes from the set that all my little miniature pieces came from. And all I've done is I have painted it red, and then I have put some stickles over the top. This is sprinkled sugar, which I thought was appropriate. It gives it that kind of highly sugared candy look, and I think it looks quite effective. Now, I did try very, very hard to get this supported by some invisible thread, some fishing line, as you will. Well, it is fishing line, but it's the equivalent for jewellery making, and it was having none of it. So I've just used a bit of wire to put it in place. It's not going to be overly noticeable against my door, I don't think. And it just gives that sort of impression of something floating there, which I think is, I'm going to have to put my hand behind it, which I think is quite nice. So now I've got 2 wreaths for my 2 doors. Obviously, I am going to put a bit of decorations up out of the basement area, so it doesn't look quite so much like the house was an afterthought. But, you know, while I had the pipe cleaners out, I decided to have a go at making some lollipops. I've seen a lot of people make these in real life, and they're using pool noodles even. But I used my twisted together pipe cleaners, and I think they look quite well. Now, what I've actually got, and the glue hasn't quite set there, so I've got to be careful, is I've got a wooden circle that I painted red, and I've just stuck my pipe cleaners on the front. Now, the pipe cleaners decided to be a bit of a nuisance, and my usual glue just soaked into them. I've done something like this with them before and they were fine, but not this time. So I ended up using a bit of hot glue just to secure them, and then I've used the stem off a cotton swab just to make my stick. And then the bottom is made out of a combination of a very small cotton reel and some stacked up die cut circles. That is just a little bit of the leftover cereal box from the stuff I was making previously that I've just put on there to give it a bit of a sturdier base, and it's not too bad. As you can see, I've got 2, and the glue that's sticking them in isn't quite set, which is why I've gone for this. You could go for doing something like this in any colourway that suited your scheme. You could also do something similar using clay. Now, I've still not had a play with the polymer clay. I will do one day. Air dry clay, the finish on it isn't always the best, so I decided not to risk it and just to stick with these because I've used them for some other things, so I know it's going to work. I'm quite pleased with it. Oh, and the clay I normally use, which is silk clay, has all started drying out just lately, but I've got to say that the newest of the clay I've got is probably over 4 years old, and some of it is up to about 7 years old, so I'm probably pushing it in trying to keep using it anyway. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with how my little pipe cleaner lollipops have come out, and of course they fit well within my sort of general kind of candy, cane, sweets sort of a theme that I've got going. And because I had some left over from making lollipops, I made a couple of actual candy canes. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. I might stick them by my gateposts or something like that. I've seen quite a few, although not this year, of plastic candy canes, which would be great if you wanted oversized ones for your doll's house decorations. They're designed to be hung on the tree, but I'm sure you could take the little hanging things out and maybe cover it up with either a bow or a little bit of fake foliage. But yeah, it's really simple. Again, this just twisted pipe cleaners and then bent into shape. Not complicated, and again, a really quick and easy little doll's house decoration. So here we have my little selection of Christmas stroke Creepmas decorations. I'm really pleased with my gingerbread man. I love the little hand creeping out. I think that is going to look perfect. I like that I've managed to make some more bits that fit with my candy cane themed idea, and yeah, it's coming along nicely. It's coming along better than I thought it might a week or so ago, and I'm kind of feeling positive that I'm going to have a reasonable display on my doll's house. I have so many more ideas that I would love to have the time to try, because I don't know quite how to do some of these things, and at the moment I haven't got the time to do this. So maybe they need to be put down in a notebook for next year. I don't know. We'll see. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like, comment and subscribe. And until next time, bye!